preferences. Let's see. I made it. Okay, I'm a little late, but I'm here. I had some tech stuff to deal with. So, okay, here I am, Elaine Marolakos Edelson with Astrology Mojo. I want to help you get your mojo back. So, if you don't know me, then you don't know that I say that the planets don't make you do anything, that we live in a cooperation with the cosmos, so that when the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, it's reflected by way of aspects and angles in astrology. I needed a magical background today. I just did something ethereal and moon-like. We've got, today, June 22nd, we have the moon in Cancer, sun in Cancer. We've got Mercury in Cancer. Who needs a hug? Then we've got Mars and Neptune in Pisces. A lot of water. I needed something very ethereal and magical, or else I'm going to break down and cry. Hey, Vicky's here. Ricarda, what a beautiful name. I hope everyone is doing well and is, taking it a minute at a time. So I charged all my crystals that could be out in the sunlight this weekend, and then when I brought them in, some last night, some this morning, I actually held a few, and they were like, It's like, Elaine to Pluto. So, I had that experience. And what was everyone else's experience? And we're not done yet, believe me, by any stretch. We've got many months to go, miles to go before we sleep. And I'm just wondering, what is the consensus so far of this weekend? Now, if you're listening to this in a replay or in perhaps a YouTube replay, then you may not be in the week of the eclipse and the summer solstice, but you're still in the energy of it. So think about the feelings, the sensation, and sometimes it's just, let me look. I didn't make a screenshot of it, but we've got Mercury, of course, is retrograde in Cancer. Who feels like talking, I don't know. I'll just sit here. And then with Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, all in retrograde. I need to think about that. Wait a minute. Exactly. What was I thinking? What was I saying? Venus in retrograde, it's going to be ending this week, but then there's the post-shadow phase. So, as I've been saying for weeks, it's just how you feel, what's going on, what you can do to mitigate the extremes, and all those things that you think are, got to take action. Well, maybe you don't. Let's just think about that. This is a time of self-care. So find something in your environment, whether it's planting seeds, energetic seeds of who do I really want to be in this world? How do I really want to treat my body? How do I want to treat the people in my life? What do I really believe? I was speaking with, I did a reading yesterday. I don't typically do a reading on the day of an eclipse, but I did yesterday for this person because of their Gemini moon, Venus in Gemini, retrograde, and their Cancer sun, and all the stuff that they're undergoing. And it was just, there's so much. It's like making a pizza. Everything gets thrown up in the air, and what do I do first? Who do I take care of first? Well, self-care is going to be important. Really important. It's just a reminder. The planets, an astrologer once said to me, remember, the planets mean planet. I just thought it was so funny. It's like, yeah, you want to plan, you want to assess. And outside of astrology, what you want to do really is live your most authentic life. Truth or not. I need a drink of my favorite beverage. It's so magical today. Let me check in. Hi, Christine. Yes, we all need a hug. Self-care. Teresa, hi. Hermit mode all weekend. Yeah, me too. Exactly. But every morning started off with the gusto, yeah, I could do this. I'm so excited. And then by the time 1 o'clock rolled around, don't anybody talk to me. I'm so tired and sad. And not for no particular reason, of course. It was just like, I just need to be quiet. I'm feeling low energy right now, but I get psyched when I get to chat about the thing that is my passion. And that is the other part of this program, is to really, ignite the thing that gives you joy. And people sometimes forget that there is a limited amount of time on this earth. And you could, with intuition, with astrology, with readers, with tarot, dreaming, you could divine your exit strategy and time. But for the most part, we don't know. And so during this time, we're here. And while we're here, some people fall asleep and just go through the motions. And, I'm sure we can all relate, because some days it's just, I'm just going to garden. That's what I did yesterday. Pulled some weeds. I spray, instead of any kind of pesticides that are toxic, I use, it's called Weed Zap. And I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I love it because it is cinnamon oil and clove oil. And I also spray it on the back patio and the front walkway to keep the bugs away. Ants don't like it. And so I just did, care, home care and maintenance. So this is a time of self-care. It's a time of just staying in touch with what comes naturally, what's real, what's true. And sometimes you just got to lay low, right? You just got to lay low. So I am going to pull some cards today. I just thought, let's go random. I'm going to pull some cards, be in the flow of what's happening. And here is the Colette Baron Reed Enchanted Map. And, you look at what's happening on the stage of the world, and it all seems like a jumble, and we're scattered, and we think, what's new? It's the same news. What's different? I don't know. It's the same stuff. And yet, if we get that moment of calm after a meditation or a really great meal, my husband and I did some barbecue yesterday for Father's Day, and, I gave him some little gifts, and they were all self-care products. And things that he loved. And so I'm thinking for the next couple of weeks, especially through July 12th, let's add a week, 17, 20, July 20th-ish, we're in a Mercury retrograde, right, in Cancer. And then we still have the lunar eclipse in Capricorn coming up. And that is going to be on July 4th. And I'll be talking more about that on Thursday. Whoops. Woo, this one flipped right out. And next week, oh my gosh, this is very funny. This is the card that flipped out. Who needs a compass? Who needs a direction right now, a directional? And the compass is basically what it says. I'll look at the book too, just to see what other words. But, just stay rooted in what's real for you in the moment. No extremes, and also look at how you can be of great service to yourself and equally to someone else. And it doesn't have to be to someone you know. Okay, it says, as long as you orient your compass to true north, the direction of your higher power, you will never be lost. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. And there's more to it, but you get the idea, right? And I think, too, that when you start something in the time of so many retrogrades and so many planets in water, including today the moon, but tomorrow it will move on to Leo. But there's this sense of sentimentality, like, oh, I wish I could go back in time, like this portal behind me. I wish I could go back in time and relive those days, whatever days they were. I wish, wasn't that a great, look at my photo album. Look at this, remember this time? Hey, haven't heard, and the past comes back. So people come back, old feelings come back, photographs, music, and recipes. I'm looking at translating all my grandmother's recipes to keto. Some I cannot, but some I can. And of course, eventually I will put that into writing. It's so... Oh, Christine says, granddaughter will be coming into this world the 23rd to the 24th. Congratulations. Yes, it is very special. And congratulations, Grandma. Grandma. You're not old enough to be a grandmother. You're ageless. So I've been just looking at my little loose stones that I have. This is a little piece of tourmaline. It is rainbow tourmaline. So I've got green on one end and the pink in the middle. And sometimes I just will hold something and I'll feel something that I don't have any words for. And I'm a writer and I talk a lot. Well, at home I don't talk a lot, but I express myself publicly. And so this is that time for everyone to go in as much as possible and just kind of regroup and see if you can match the feeling to the thought. And if they are still both true, you create a value from that, okay? Match the feeling to the thought and also match your face to the feeling. Because if I'm doing this and you look at me and say, what's the matter? And I say, nothing, I'm feeling blissed out. There's a contradiction. There's a contradiction there. We're not always aware of the external, especially more spiritual or metaphysically inclined people are not always aware that the hair is sticking up or that my blouses are often buttoned differently, crooked. But when you have that internal expression match the external expression, you are present as possible in the moment. And I think that's an indication now of this Cancer eclipse. Plus, with the Mercury retrograde in Cancer, the communication is about going in. How do I feel? What do I think? What was that dream I had last night? I can't shake the feeling. I mean, literally, I had a very large dream. A lot of people and conversations and, there was a lot of stuff happening. And I wake up thinking, where was I? What was I just doing? And I take that time to think about the dream, to write about the dream. But I walk away with the feeling. So when there's a lot of water signs, as there are now, there's Aquarius, Saturn is in Aquarius, that's an air sign. Venus is in Gemini, that's an air sign. So we've got two air signs. And then we've got Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn, Earth, Uranus in Taurus, Earth. So we have 3 Earth signs versus the 4 water signs plus the moon in water today. There's a lot of, imagine making an imprint on the sand right by the shoreline. So you step into the sand and you make an imprint and you can see, I have a footprint. It is not the sand, just like in astrology, the sand is not showing you that you have a footprint. Although when you look down, you say, oh, I have a footprint. Then comes the ebb and flow of the water and takes that footprint away. Do you still have a footprint? Yes, because energetically you exist. So it's a very metaphysical time to go in and look at how can I use my energy and my feelings to make my footprint. First, as I was talking to my client yesterday, and I said, the Cancer vibe, people often mistake a Cancer energy with, being at home and crying while you're knitting. Okay, maybe for some. But it's more of a proactive energy, because when you tell, and this has been true for, I would say, and I've known a lot of Cancer sun sign and Cancer rising signs. Cancer moon's a little different. Cancer sun and rising are more proactive with, let's answer the problem. What's the problem? You look sad. What can I do? So it's not always the hug that you get, or here, let me give you a freshly baked tray of cookies. It may not be that. It can be financial advice. It can be processing your past and reconciling, like you would a balance ledger for your finances, and reconciling your emotions to, do I still need to hang on to that feeling about that person? Yeah, I don't think so. So it's a really good time now to like an accountant, go in and take stock of your feelings, and again, match it to the thought, because you might, just like my client yesterday was thinking, well, I got to take care of this person. I have to go do that thing. And I'm like, but you're not alone on this earth, and you can use energetic methods to bridge that gap. So let's everyone create a bridge now. Really think about the bridge energetically. If you had a need and you're thinking, well, I'm the only one who can get it done, or it's better that I just do it myself. It's just so much easier. That's not cooperative learning. That's you taking charge and being that very proactive person, which is a wonderful thing. But sometimes it stops your flow. And we're in water signs. It's all about flow. And if you can flow in order to grow without doing, oh, wow, there's a concept, flow in order to grow, but without doing. What does that look like to you? Let's put our thoughts now this week, especially this whole month, ideally, but this week especially, on how do I feel and what do I think about that? And if the two are jiving and they coincide, then you can create a value from it. Then you can create an action from it. Does that make sense? If the two are incongruent, that's when you say, I thought I could do it, but my body's saying slow down, or I'm going to make you slow down. Or I felt I could do it, but my thoughts are saying, yeah, but I don't know how. So wherever there's an inconsistency, I want you to stop and pay attention to that moment and go in and ruminate, play, discuss amongst yourselves. Right? Star Newman says, being. We have a 10-second delay between what I say and what you hear, so I'm not sure what being refers to, but I like the idea. Let's all just being. I gotta be me, I gotta be me. All right, I'm so drawn to this very rare piece of sugilite that I have. And this is the kind of stone that I would take. This used to be a necklace. And from, let me see, another lifetime ago, many lifetimes ago, when I lived in New Jersey. And I bought this in New York at a little tiny crystal store down in the village. And I don't even know if they're still there. But took it home, wore it. 2 days later, it was silver wrap around the top. And it was beautiful. And it just cracked. And the stone fell off. And I thought, oh my gosh, what happened? Did I drop it? Did I do something? So I brought it back to the store and they said, oh, that's interesting. Well, we'll rewrap it. So they rewrapped it and I went back to get it and I wore it for another week, cracked again, came off. And I had a feeling that this stone wanted to be free and to just exist without being worn, except when I would meditate, I would literally adhere it to my forehead. and it would stay there. I could walk around for an hour and it would just stay right there. So every once in a while I'm drawn to this stone, and I can tell that when, and I know you know what this is. When you're doing something or you're saying something, there's a voice inside you that says, stop talking. You don't even believe what you're saying. Or why are you filling the space with chatter? Or why are you eating that thing? You're not even hungry. So that's the distraction that a Mercury in retrograde combined with a Venus in retrograde combined with a Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn in retrograde can show you about your behavior. And Star says, grow with the flow without doing. Would that be being? I admire your mind. Oh, yes. That would be being. Is that a good sentence? That would be being. I like that sentence. Yes. Grow with the flow without doing. That would be being. And but it brings your attention and your awareness to, what am I about to say? What am I thinking? How am I feeling? Because your energy gets made into matter. And your matter creates your environment. And so when you look around and you go, yeah, that doesn't really matter to me anymore, but you're still attached to something because it's still there. So you got to let it go on some level, right? Got to let it go. The one thing, and I understand my vibe is real low today, and I'm not singing or doing my normal stuff, but I have to say, this inward feeling, I can feel the collective. I do a weekly meditation with women. I only know one of them, and it's around the country. So we get together at the same time in our own time zones for 30 minutes, and we meditate. Sometimes people put names on the list, or I usually just focus on the collective. And when I meditate on the collective, I will do a chant. And when I chant with Deva Premal, I start to feel that growing with flow today at 3, growing with flow and expanding without exhausting or tiring myself, right? So think about all the doing that you do. The Cancer energy is cardinal, and a cardinal energy, the cardinal signs, in case you're not aware, are Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, Libra. So if you have any combination of that, you really know that you like to be proactive about things. Even if you second guess or you doubt or you do all the feeling things that humans do, you're proactive. So before you start to think about, I'm going to create a new project or assemble more people to take care of, or how about find a way to contribute, but not at the sake of myself. I'm going to be in my feeling state first right now. With Mars in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, what we're looking at, and they are conjunct within 6 degrees. I like to see within 4 degrees of a Pisces Neptune, conjunction, but it's still within 6 degrees, is the action is on a metaphysical feeling, getting lost happily, not getting lost by getting drunk or, overeating or overindulging or playing video games for 6 days straight and never seeing the sunlight. I don't mean that kind of getting lost. That's an addiction. That's an attachment. That's escapism. I'm talking about using your enthusiasm, deity on the inside. That's the definition of that word. Use your enthusiasm. Find some inspiration to, look at my garden. It's so beautiful. I have huge, 8-foot tall sunflowers in different parts of my yard. And one of the reasons I want them to be so tall, we put bungees around the bottom just to hold them together, because some of them in the wind, we have a lot of high winds here, some of them started to fall over. And I'm so glad we did, because I was thinking, well, I want our neighbors to see the tops of the flowers so that they benefit too. Because I have smaller sunflowers, but I really wanted them to grow tall so that they, and they're maintenance free mostly. And the birds go. So we get birds coming. So it's like, I'm thinking of the collective, not just people. I'm thinking of the ants will go to the back of the yard instead of to my door. The birds will go to the back of the yard. So I get to see, I have a water fountain. So the birds will come and drink. And I'm seeing birds I've never seen before with black and white stripes, or I don't even know what kind of birds these are. And we just sit in the kitchen and look out the window and say, oh my gosh, look at that. What is that? It's bright yellow. It matches the flowers. So when you're putting something, when you don't know what to do, I want to talk about self-care now. When you're in a stage of self-care, and sometimes it's, I just need to lie down, take a nap, eat something really nutritional, hydrate really well. That's self-care, absolutely. Then there's self-care that gets dispersed amongst, the land. Let it be known throughout the land that self-care benefits you, right? You personally, and then it benefits the collective. So once you recharge and rejuvenate and you do that thing, then you can say, oh, wow, yeah, I'm going to spray cinnamon oil and clove oil on the ground and on some of these we have very thorny weeds out here in Arizona. But I'm not going to spray anything toxic to the earth. That's self-care. That's also the contribution that you make because of self-care, right? Does that make sense? I'm going to pull another card from a different deck. Let's see, what do we have? Come say hello to me if we're getting so philosophical and metaphysical today. Who else is here? Come say hi. Let's see, who wants to say hello? Let's do the universal cards as I reach over. The Universal Law Cards of Conscious Creation by Lara Salara, Dana DuPoint, and Marlene Chapman. They are not for sale anywhere. My husband found them at a workshop many years ago, and he bought them for me. And I'm so happy he did. This is the booklet. And I'm going to mix up the cards. There are no reverse to these. Come say hi. How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling during this eclipse solstice energy? I'll be back on Thursday, and we're going to start talking about the lunar eclipse in Capricorn. We're already in the vibe. But we're going to get even more into the discussion regarding Capricorn and the lunar eclipse on July 4th, 13 degrees. If you know where 13 degrees of Capricorn is in your chart, then you'll know by house what house it is in. And I'll talk about the houses on Thursday. So please come back. I'll just cover the basic house definitions and where the lunar eclipse can be showing up in your chart. Okay. So I'm asking the universe to just show us a little message to help us on our way. Please. We all need help, don't we? My husband and I are going to be watching, oh my gosh, Dean, what's the name of that with the women who rode across the world? Losing Sight of Shore. We're going to watch that tonight. It looks amazing about these women who braved the waters in a rowing, not a rowboat, but, when you do scull, coxswain, what is it called? Anyway, so they went across the globe in a little tiny thing. I mean, that's huge. I can't wait to see it. Okay, thank you, universe, for showing us our message today. Oh, Christine loves these cards. I'm so happy. All right. There's one. Another one wants to come. Solar and lunar eclipses are here, there, and everywhere. Mind. One of our favorite lines in The Last Samurai is, too many mind. Mind the people. Mind the hands. Mind the thoughts. Too many mind. So the mind And I love the second one is awareness. Awareness. These fractals are beautiful. All right, so let's go right to the mind card. Mind expresses itself through the attribute of thinking. As mind thinks, it directs the universe into action and manifests the reflection of its thought into form. Another way to say that is form follows thought. So what you think, you create. That's what the Hebrew phrase avra kadavra means. I create as I speak. You think it, you speak it, you make it. The universe is asking you to notice the thoughts that you are thinking and to confirm whether or not they align with the reality that you want to create. That's the most, I should highlight that. That's the most potent line. That's what we're talking about. If not, then it's time to develop new habits of thinking. Ta-da! How do we do that? Well, through awareness. Yes. What time is it? Now. What time is it now? It's now. How are you feeling now? Okay. Awareness. I'm being silly today. You are the infinite experiencing individuality, but as a human being, you are unique among all other creations on earth because you have the ability to be conscious of your infinite nature. When your awareness is focused entirely on your individuality and you neglect to align yourself with your connectedness to all life, your power appears limited. All right, let me say that again like this. What we were just talking about. If your thoughts and your feelings or your emotions do not coincide, there is a discrepancy. There's a contradiction. And in that contradiction is the limitation, because that's where you stop your flow. That's where you cannot grow. That's where being present comes into play. So the recommendation on this card is write the story of your life in how to harmonize with awareness. As you write, try not to identify with what you are describing. Move your awareness beyond your story. Excuse me. Become the intentional writer of the story instead of simply one of the characters. You know what I've been telling people too is that in this Mercury in retrograde in Cancer, Cancer represents writing women and children's issues, financial stuff, home and hearth, real estate. That it's time to go in and rewrite your story. Whenever Mercury is retrograde, especially in Cancer and Gemini, go in and rewrite your story. What's your story? You know, you ever meet somebody at a party and they go, hey, what's your story? Let me pull out the scroll of victimization and all the horrible things that ever happened to me. I think it was Carolyn Mace who said once, when people introduce each other at a party, they tend to introduce each other by way of trauma. Hi, how are you? Oh, I've had the worst headache all week, but other than that, I'm doing great. How are you? Oh my gosh, I know what you mean. My knees have been killing me. Or I just got a notice from the, government. Oh, now I have more taxes to pay. Oh, I think my back's going to give out. It's like if your awareness is on the negatives, but you're just trying to fit in, yeah, it doesn't jive with the truth. This is why when I go to a party, I keep my mouth shut for most of the time. Hi, how are you? What are you all about? What's your story, Elaine? Well, I'm just so grateful to be alive. I'm like a puppy. I'm so grateful to be alive. And I take pleasure in the little things, the buds. I learned how to prune basil yesterday on a YouTube video. I was thrilled because I want to grow it bushy and wide, not tall. And I keep picking the flowers off. And I'm like, why aren't you growing? Now I learned something. And then my hands smelled of basil. And then I put extra basil on the counter. And then the kitchen smelled of basil. And I was just in that place of, I'm just so happy, even when I'm not, right? I want you to think on that. Excuse me, it's dry here. I want you to think on that, and I will be back on Thursday, and we're going to talk about the lunar eclipse in Capricorn coming up on July 4th and where it is in the houses in your life. If you know where Capricorn is in your chart. If not, I will post a link so you can get your chart for free. And then consider and then you get a sun sign reading, a complimentary on the house. And then consider the astrological life profile report. It's over 35 pages. It's only $37. Depends on how many pages depend on you personally. And it's really great information. Sun sign, sun rising moon sign, house placements, planetary alignments, aspects, angles. You get and bonuses, Mercury in retrograde, moon void. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes with it. So I'm going to post that link and consider that, and have a beautiful rest of the week until Thursday when I see you again. And in the meantime, what I want you to do is pay attention. Are your feelings matching your thoughts? And if they're not, go in and find out why. Rewrite your story. Blessings. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being. And as always, I wish you peace. I'll see you again. Come back.